Hello everybody, in today's video we'll be talking about how to build a paver patio, um, kind of do it yourself work. But I wanted to warn you that it will need definitely two persons. You need equipment and you need time, and having some patience also helps. In my case, we built 330 square feet paper patio, and due to the weather, raining and things like that, it went on over for few weekends, because weekends is the only time when I could work. This is where I wanted to build the paver patio. As you can see, I already have a deck, and next to the deck I had stacked some of the pavers. I just put it flat, and I had a basketball court. I have a overview camera there, and this shot is from that overview camera. So the problem with this was, if you just lay the papers flat as it is, you would eventually get grasses, etc. And also, if they're not flat, it's not a good feeling to walk. And more importantly, especially for things like if you want to set up a chair, or if you want to do the basketball court, etc., you definitely need a full flat um, patio. And that's why I decided to redo this work, and I decided to build it the proper way. All right, let's get to it. So these are the things that basically you'll be doing in order to create the pivot patio. The very first thing is naturally that you have to mark the ground and start digging, and that is the most Herculean work, because when you dig, you will get lots and lots of dirt out, and you have to make sure that you have a plan in mind where to dump this dirt. So that's pretty much the first work. Once you have the ground completely cleared out, the next thing that you have to do it is, or recommended to do it is, run a compactor on it, so that the base floor is compacted before you start putting anything on it. The third step is filling the the very first material, what is called base material, and your local landscape store or query, etc., might have a different name to it. In my case, it was called CR6, and that's a base material is close to like 1 inch filled with the concrete, and 1 inch maximum diameter rocks to it. So that's the type of material that you need to provide the solid foundation for this patio. Once you have completed that, and that you have to do close to about 4 inches. Once you have completed that, then the next thing is adding a concrete sand. You need to about 2 inches of sand, and at least that's what I did. Some places I have seen people asking for even 1 inch of sand, but I did 2 inches of sand. And then next thing is, you lay the brick, and seal it with the polyurethane sand. And this is the type of the sand which helps the gap, or seal the gap between the two bricks or pavers. Now let us look at the details of each steps a little more closely. Marking and digging is as simple as it sounds, or as straightforward as it sounds. First, you mark the area um, with a thread or something, or with a color, and then you start digging. But the only thing that I want to add here is, there are some tips that I like to add. First thing is that it really creates a huge amount of dirt. So you should have a plan where you are going to dump this dirt. You need to create at least 8-inch deep hole, um, and for that it creates a lot of dirt. The way we calculate how much dirt it's going to come out is that you find out the volume, which is nothing but length times width times the depth. And you can see my example, which shows that for 15 feet wide and 22 feet long patio that I created, how much dirt I got out in terms of even the trailer. It's like close to 9 trailer utility trailer. I rented a utility trailer from U-Haul, so it close to 9 trailer of dirt that's created. Next thing is where to dump this dirt and how to dump this dirt. You have a choice of dumping it in a county trash facility, or you can put it on Craigslist. Essentially, eventually that's what I did, and somebody would come pick it up for free. But if you do not get that lucky, then you have to dump it into the county trash facility, and there, mm, naturally, they may also charge you money. In my case, it costed me $70. It was costing me $70 per ton to dump it in the county trash facility, and then how to pick it up and uh, how to carry it there. So for that, either you can rent a dumpster or dump truck from Sunbelt Rental Unlimited, those type of places, or you can use again the U-Haul trailer. But then if you do the U-Haul trailer, how you're going to load it? Are you really going to load it yourself, or are you going to use the skid steer? And if you use the skid steer, but then again that costs money, close to $300 for rental per day in our area, and then about $200 for delivery and pickup. So all these costs are very important to consider in order to plan out the whole digging and dirt removing part of the plan. Other considerations are that you cannot just build a flat, or you shouldn't be really building a flat patio if it is closer to the house or structure, because you want the water to slope out. And a typical calculation for that is about half inch of slope every 5 feet. So in my case, I had to do at least 2 or 2.5 inch of slope. I actually ended up doing a lot more slope than that one, because I really didn't want any water to be stuck close to the house. And the next thing is that if your ground is already not labeled, if suppose there is a up and down, then you have to calculate that accordingly to find out how much extra dirt you might need to remove. Compacting is a relatively speaking simple exercise in this whole thing, and you need to compact very often. So as soon as the hole is dug, um, you compact one round. So I compacted one round with a plate compactor that I rented from again one of these rental stores. I think I rented from Rental Unlimited, and it costed me around $60 per day. So I did have to spend like 200 $250 on this thing, and it's small enough. It fits into the back of my Toyota Highlander. So, and it's very easy to do it yourself. So you have to make multiple rounds. You take the compactor, run it. It runs with the gas, and make it multiple rounds on the same ground, so that it compacts very easily. In my case, it was 200 pound plate compactor, I think, and the picture shows the type of compactor that I rented. Unfortunately, I do not have the video for that one. So, as you can see, that I have dug up maybe about a foot from the one closer to the wall, and about 7 or 8 inches from the side. And I have already run a couple of rounds of compactor of this. And now what I'm trying to do here is I'm using one of these 1x4 that I bought at Lowe's, trying to see the label, and I am going to go all the way and mark it on the wall, which is completely labeled. And once I have marked it, the 4 inch, 1 by 4 inch means actually it's 3.5 inch lumber, right? So a little over that will be 4 inches. So 4 inch from that side, I am going to mark the 4 inch line on the wall, and once I am done that, then I will go 4 inch up, and that is the line that I am going to mark. And what I'm going to do here is from 4 inch, from so overall 8 inches on this side and about 4 inch of this side, that much of gravel based material I'm going to pour in. So once you have the ground dug, the next thing is and compacted. The next thing is to fill it up with the base material. The base material, I got it from one of the nearby landscape store, and it costed me around $30 per ton, and I had to get it close to 10 tons of base material in order to fill up the 330 square feet of patio that I was building. So again, I took the rental truck, the utility trailer from U-Haul, made multiple rounds because each time it was carrying close to one ton, so I had to make it multiple rounds. But the advantage of that the trailer was that since I was driving, I could bring it all the way back. If I would have got it delivered from somebody else, it was costing me close to $100, and they were not guaranteeing that they will dump the base material in the back. They would always dump only in the front, and that I had to carry it backward myself. So which is a very good amount of work. So that's the option that I used. I rented the utility trailer, got 1 ton at a time myself from the local landscape store, and it was called CR6, but in your store it might be called something else. But essentially the base material for the patio, and then I backed it up all the way to where the patio was going to be built, and that's where I dumped. And then once you dump the whole round, a couple of inches, then again I ran the compactor. So I had to run the compactor 2 or 3 times to fill up 10 tons of base material, which filled up close to 4 inches after compacting 4 inches of the hole. So out of the 6 inches of the ground that I dug, 4 inches were filled with base material, and for the rest 2 I filled that up with the sand. I got the concrete sand from the local landscape store, and I think it costed me maybe like $40 or $50 per ton. And if I remember correctly, I needed to get close to 3 tons of sand. So again, you can do the calculation. In our case, I wanted at least 1 inch of sand on top of the concrete base material. And as you can see, I used one of those conduit, the plastic conduit, to measure the height of the sand. Adding sand and layering bricks basically goes together. So I divided the whole section into three, and each sections I first added the sand, leveled it, and then laid the brick and made sure that it's leveled. Also, to make sure that the edges are straight and it does not move, I used the plastic edging material and the long nails. You get like close to 8 inches of long solid iron nails from the landscaping store. So I used that to make the edge before I laid down the paver. Layering the paver straight is pretty straightforward job. It's simple, but it becomes tricky when you come closer to the wall, or if you have one of those gutters, the rainwater gutters, etc. That's when it becomes tricky, because now you have to cut on a certain shape or size. So the trick that you can use there is, or the one that I use there is, that I use the cardboard material to measure the exact shape, draw it, and then cut it accordingly. So you naturally need a stone cutter or a brick cutter, and then that's what I use to cut the brick into smaller pieces. So once you have the brick or pavers laid out completely, then pretty much the last thing is to now seal the gutter, or gutter meaning the edges around your paver patio, because you do not want the grass or the weed to to grow. So for that we use the cement mixture, and the cement, and mix it with water, and that's pretty much it. You pour it along the edges or the gutter, and then you label it. Last step in this process is spreading something what is called polyurethane sand. It is a fine, very fine grained sand which essentially fills the gap between the pavers, the brick, and kind of seals it with the water or moisture. So you just need to spray it, and then that's it. Clean it up, and spray with the later on. Spray with a little bit of water, so that it becomes moist and it seals the gap between the pavers. And that's pretty much it. Making this entire Paver's patio costed me close to maybe like about $1,500 of material, out of which about $500 itself was only for the pavers, because this is 16 feet wide and 22 feet long, and I think I got maybe around dollar 25 cents each paver from Lowe's. Rest other materials were the sand, the base material, the U-Haul truck rental, the edging stuff, the nails, etc. And it took us a solid 2 weeks of labor for two persons. So I just wanted to put it out there for perspective. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.